Question: how do you navigate the most important decisions of your life? How do you choose professionals to whom you turn to in a crisis? How do you ensure that you're actually moving towards the outcome that you're looking for in these crucial times? You know, most people have no idea how to answer that question. But whether it's a legal challenge, health issue, or a business decision, some of the best answers come in the form of knowing the right questions to ask. Whether you need the right lawyer, right doctor, right business partner, the right spouse, the right anything, first need the right answers. In order to get to the right answers, you got to know the right questions to ask. Enter the Right Questions podcast. What is the most important thing you can do this year for your family? What's the most important thing you can do this year for yourself? And when I ask you that question, take it to heart. Take some time to really think about what I'm asking. Don't tell me about some shallow goal or some material object. Go deeper. What is your family counting on? What one thing, if you accomplished this year, would make the most impact on the lives of everyone you love? See, I get it. These are some pretty big questions to be asking. Most of us are asking these questions every single day, but we don't have anybody holding us accountable. I'm guilty of this. I spend a lot of my time wasting, but I can tell you that one of the things I'm trying to do this year is stop wasting time. And that's what the goal of this podcast. I really do want to make sure that I bring you guys some value. This podcast is going to be short but sweet. And the idea is to play this now in the beginning of the year. We're still in the second week of January. And look, I know New Year's resolutions are cliche, right? Everyone's having them up to here. But don't make New Year's resolutions. Make one promise to yourself. Ask yourself, what is the most important thing that you can accomplish this year? Just get quiet. You know what it is, whatever it is. Then ask yourself, what is the thing that if you got done this year would give you the greatest sense of fulfillment? Because it's not just about checking boxes, hitting all your goals, despite what a lot of the internet gurus make you believe. And look, I love motivation as much as the next person. I enjoy content that helps to push me. And I get it, these people are not as one-dimensional as the videos might show. But sometimes we forget that. We forget that. I made a video where I asked, what game are you playing? And I think that's a really good question because I don't know about you, I grew up playing video games. And I was the kind of kid that, after I started playing a game, I was so into it. I didn't focus on anything else. I became absolutely obsessed, ADHD, ADD, whatever you want to call it. And ultimately what happened is I would beat the game. And then once I would beat the game, any desire that I had to play it was gone because I beat the game. There's a lot of people out there who I'm sure also grew up playing video games. And maybe they're not all like me. Maybe they can keep playing the same thing over and over again. But, the image I have in my mind is of Mario just hitting the coin block, right? Ding, ding, over and over and over and over. And it kind of feels like that's what a lot of people are doing today. This is how they're spending their time. And if you think about it, that explains a lot of things. It explains a lot of the perversions that we see in life, things that are extreme. It's all because they just keep playing the same game. And one of the things I realized I needed to do in my life, maybe too late, not too late, but later than I wish I had, was how close I am to God, to the source, to the spirit. I don't mean to make this all hokey, but this is one of the most important things I could ever suggest, is if you don't currently have a relationship with God, whatever that means to you, that's probably the thing that if you do this year will give you the greatest sense of fulfillment. Hands down. And look, I know the Bible has a lot of good information. The Quran has a lot of good information. The Torah has a lot of good information. The Bhagavad Gita has a lot of good information. These are all great holy books. And they've got a lot of bad information too, let's just be honest. With that said, it's about discernment. It's about the ability to consider the source material and start asking yourself the right questions. And that's what this podcast is about. One of the focuses I've had early on was trying to help people professionally, right? Because I've had some experiences, which I'm going to get into, still in the process actually, of some legal things that are happening in my life. But that whole process taught me so much. And so I started this whole idea with the goal of trying to help people with their professional questions, when they're standing in front of a lawyer or a doctor or a business partner or an accountant or whatever, and they don't know what they should be asking. That was something that I was actually always pretty good at, is figuring out what the key issues are, how best to present them, and just kind of, help guide people along the right path through the use of questions that would both reveal, how much I actually knew and how much I didn't. And that's all great. I'm still going to do that on this channel. And I'm going to show you things on everything from how to pick the right lawyer, how to pick the right doctor. We're going to go through a whole bunch of great scenarios. And I'm also going to be making some additional announcements down the road to develop this whole project a bit further. And I'm excited to share that with you. But in the meantime, I think it's also important that we talk about day-to-day life. And I know maybe that's going to ruin the algorithm. Maybe if I stuck to one thing, I'd get way more views. But I'm not one-dimensional. I know you're not one-dimensional. And I want to bring you a show that you're actually going to enjoy watching, not just when you need something in front of a professional. And I think this is one of the best services I can do. First of all, show you that I'm just like you. I ask myself these questions every single day. And a lot of times I'm not living up to what the answers should be. And so part of me is recording this as a form of accountability. And I encourage you to do the same thing. For me, the most important thing that I could do this year that will bring me the most fulfillment and satisfaction is to continue to strengthen my relationship with the Creator, with the All-Father, with whatever you want to call Him. And I know if I do that, the clarity, the peace, the goodness in my life expands. It's not always the case. There are periods of contraction, definitely. It doesn't make me immune from the rain. But nonetheless, that's my number one thing that I think if I do that this year, I will be more fulfilled than if I achieve anything else. But also personally, look, I'm responsible for some family, and I want to make sure I do a good job by them. So my life changed after my father passed away. I mentioned him in previous podcasts. He was, and always will be one of the biggest influences on my life. And, he's no perfect soul either, right? I mean, he was my hero, and it definitely taught me so much of what's great about me, but he also showed me things I don't want to be. And, look, one thing that I did love about him is that no matter what the situation was, he found time to be around. I know that the more he was around, the more I wanted him around. So one of the things I realized I was failing at is I wasn't around. I went off and had this great life, which I'm not going to get into now, but left everybody I knew, which is kind of customary because my family did that too. They crossed oceans and countries. But, when I was younger, I went out and just basically lived the dream life, followed my career. I was fortunate enough to, have some amazing experiences in corporate America. I know things have changed, and it wasn't always a walk in the park, but I'm not going to take away from the good that came out of that. And one of the goods that came out of that was tremendous learning. And I had a chance to probably, I won't say retire, but step back in a way that most people don't get a chance to until they're much older. And I followed my whims, followed everything. And I found myself really far away from my family. I found myself really far away from people I had grown up and cared about. And it wasn't a bad thing because it helped shape me into who I am today, but I definitely missed out on a lot. And if that's one thing I could share with some of the young people that might be watching this podcast is go after your goals. And there's a lot of great people out there telling you, leave your family behind, don't think twice. And, I did it. So I'm here to tell you that it works and you will definitely evolve and change. But I hope one day you get to come back and realize how lucky you were. I hope that your relationship with your family gets stronger with time, not weaker. I hope that as you achieve your goals, you also are able to achieve fulfillment. And I think that's something that I don't know if everybody who I'm following can say that they're actually doing. I think some people are, and I'll talk about what I've learned from those people. But it seems like there's a lot of people who are really one-dimensional, and they're just wanting to talk about money, or they're just wanting to talk about success, or they're just wanting to talk about progress, and that's all great. But there's so many layers to this onion that I think is fun to unpack, and hope you'll join me as we go through some of these questions. So look, the questions I have for myself in the new year, number one, what is the most important thing that I must accomplish this year? And to me, that's staying on my purpose, expanding this mission and helping as many people as I possibly can. Really, I can look back and know that I'll never fulfill my potential, but at least I was constantly striving for it. And more importantly, actually getting results that helped others. This is what it's all about. Second question I have is, what is the thing that's going to bring me the most joy and fulfillment? Well, again, I already answered that. That will be continuing to strengthen the relationship with the All-Father, with my Creator, with the Source, helping those that I love to do the same in as much as they want to do that. I don't want to force things down people's throats because that usually has the opposite effect. And look, if I'm going to be totally honest, I'm not one of these people who just blindly takes scripture as pure word of God. I think there's interpretation there. I think there's influence by man in there, but that doesn't delete the goodness and the morality that is undeniable, which I think some people try to do, right? They use the crazy parts of the Bible to discount the reasonable parts, or the Torah or the Quran or whatever guidebook, right, that you've happened to come across. I've read them all, or read parts of them all, or tried to read them all. And I can tell you they definitely have common messages that you start to absorb. Third question that I have is, what would you be able to accomplish this year that matters most to the people around you, right? So these are very different questions. And in this case, it might be to spend more time with them, right? If you're chasing after some kind of a financial goal or a brand goal or a purpose goal, just make sure that you also take time to think about what would you be able to do this year that would matter most to the people that you care for. And that, I think, will help you balance your life in the best way possible. Question number 4, what is some material-based goal that you're going to strive for this year that's going to give you a target, something to aim for, and that will give you some of the satisfaction? Let's be clear, we're here to enjoy ourselves. Hopefully there's some overlap in these questions, right? And hopefully these questions have proved to be helpful for you. I'd ask you to seriously think about, rewatch, listen to these questions, ask yourself what these answers are, and more importantly, even better, write them down somewhere. Put them somewhere where you can look at them. Hey, what is the most important thing that I can accomplish this year? What is the thing that will give me the most fulfillment? What is it that I can accomplish that would matter most to the people that I love? And what material goal can I hit for myself to know that I'm moving in the right path and get some enjoyment along the way? These are all natural questions. Hopefully, again, there's some overlap here. And one of the other things I want to mention, I've focused a lot in this one about spiritual health, but, I'm at a place in my life where, despite my young age, I'm still extremely healthy, and I don't take that for granted. It's already just built in to everything that I do. And maybe for some of you, that's the most important thing that you can do this year, is focus on your physical health, on your vessel. Maybe that's the thing that, if you did, would mean the most to your loved ones. And we're going to talk about that in future podcasts, but I just wanted to mention that while I had a chance. So anyway, thank you guys for watching this podcast. I hope it was useful to you. I look forward to bringing you more. Come back, subscribe. All right, we'll be in touch. Thank you.